In this video, Margaret and Lorna discuss how being an embedded researcher is linked to co-learning. They explain that all working relationships are about co-learning and how this impacts, in turn, on enabling everyone to flourish. In the second part, Lorna and Margaret build on their initial conversation about the role of co-learning in embedded research to explore how, as embedded researchers and co-learners working strategically, they would know that they were making a difference. From role modelling critical companionship relationships, they identify improved individual flourishing based on positive co-learning relationships. They additionally make links to Flex 5 relationship patterns that either support or hinder system transformation.
And this time we're talking about being embedded researchers in the work that we're doing. And I know you have a lovely description for what that is. So
Yes, I am very interested in the terminology of embedded research. And for me, embedded research is co-produced knowledge that is done in a participatory, collaborative way so that everybody owns, that it's co-owned knowledge. And therefore it requires a co-learning approach. And you and I have talked quite a lot and worked as co-learners for quite some time.
we have, and for a number of years, we were co-leads on a national programme here in Ireland. So we were working with senior leaders right across the health system. And that idea of being a co-learner as we were working with people was something that came up over and over again, and it was a very hard thing for people to grasp. Do you remember all the conversations that we had about it, and how hard it was
Yes.
for people to shift their thinking and become co-learners?
Yes, I think it is particularly challenging when you are in a senior role and therefore you feel, at least as an expectation, that you know a lot. And when you're taking the lead on something, then the notion of being a co-learner is tricky. And that's what we found. We had to put quite a bit of focus on understanding why co-learning is so necessary, um, and that it needs to be very authentic, because if we're not authentic as co-learners, then we're just reinforcing the boundaries around our silos. We're just reinforcing and rebuilding that in our relationship. So I think that co-learners, it's an embedded relationship that fits very well into the critical companionship um, relationship domain because
Mm,
of the need for reciprocity,
yeah.
that whole mutual respect for each other.
Yeah, and for mutuality and being and negotiating together, how you want to work together, what you want to achieve together. Yeah, so it has to be agreed really as an approach that we're co-learners in this work together, whatever it is that we're doing. Um, yeah, and it's something that's very active and it's ongoing. And it's not, I know we've talked about this, it's not flipping a switch and suddenly you just become a co-learner. It's actually something that takes work. And I know I've shared with you my experience after we had been working together for a long time and realizing what a co-learner was and promoting it, etc. I was fortunate to be able to work with Angie in a critical companionship for 2 years. But at the beginning of that working relationship, I slipped back into a traditional role of being a student and considering Angie as a teacher, and I had lost my hold on us as co-learners. And so it takes work to uh, hold that thought in your head that we're here as equals working in this together, and I need to look out for what Angie needed to learn in that setting. She needed to look out for what I needed to know in that setting. And it takes a level of courage and a new way of doing things to be able to collaboratively critique the way we were working together to see if what we had mutually agreed was being achieved or not. So it's not just a flip a switch and become a co-learner.
Yes, I think that's a really good example. And another example that I have is when I moved into my new role, my current role, and it's quite a technical piece of work that I'm involved with at the moment, and a small team with me on that. And I just consider all my working relationships as critical companion relationships because that's how I think now, and that I'm always a co-learner. And what I noticed was, when there is deference, and there was a sense of deference towards me in that because I was the lead in this piece of work, I knew that that isn't conducive to creating a co-learning, critical companion environment. And I had to address that overtly and work and lead uh, a role model what it means to be a co-learner. And we very quickly got it and flourished through that process. It's extremely powerful. It didn't mean that I was less responsible. It actually just meant that we were co-learners and co-shared the responsibility.